Dewey believed that when people are engaged in learning something that interested them and is related to their experience, the process of learning is enjoyable. However, he also said that enjoyment on its own is not enough to make the experience educational. Teachers can use Dewey's criteria to make sure the experiences they plan for children are not just fun, but also build on children's learning. For example, Miss Mooney visited a classroom where children were having a make-your-own Sunday celebration. There was much excitement in the room. Children told me they could choose frozen yogurt or ice cream, sprinkles or M&Ms, chocolate syrup, or strawberries. The teacher did a survey at the end of the day asking children which flavor was their favorite. She had carefully prepared a poster. It said, "Our favorite ice cream." She had cut out ice cream cones in brown, white, and pink. The children chose cones and put their names on them. When the teacher called their names, they placed their cones next to the word chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry. As Zachary tapped his brown cone to the chart, he smiled and said, "My favorite is Cherry Garcia." Later, I asked the teacher how she thought the activity had gone. Like so many teachers I speak with, she said, "The children really seemed to enjoy it." When I asked why she had planned the particular activity, she smiled and said, "I knew they would love it." Dewey would say this teacher had not done enough planning for this activity. It's unclear whether the children had expressed an interest in ice cream or how they have built any prior information they had. What did they already know about ice cream? What were they curious about? It's also hard to see how the activity supported children's development or helped them learn new skills. The documentation of the activity was limited to the chart, which was inaccurate. The only choices were chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, which didn't reflect Zachary's favorite, Cherry Garcia, and his choice of a brown cone required no association of colors with flavors. In addition, by concluding an activity with a "my favorite" chart, the teacher had not let the children wonder or search for more. A different teacher turned the same subject, ice cream, into a lesson Dewey would probably have identified as a learning experience. A kindergarten teacher had invited a parent to come in and share an old family recipe for peach ice cream. In preparing the children for this visit, she discovered that none of the children had ever tasted peach ice cream before. The teacher asked the children why they thought no one had ever tasted it, and she documented their answers. Here are some of them. "It's not at the store. It's a fruit, not an ice cream. I'm allergic. Chocolate is best." The teacher asked the children to talk to their families about ice cream. "Do you eat much ice cream? Does your brother or sister have a favorite flavor? Have you ever made ice cream at home?" she asked. The next day, the list of information was much longer. Tom's dad liked Rocky Road. Heather had gone to a Ben & Jerry's factory to watch them make ice cream. Nina's grandmother liked orange sherbet, which is sort of like ice cream, but not exactly. When the parent came in to help the children make peach ice cream, she used an old-fashioned ice cream maker. It had been her grandmother's. The children took turns mixing the ingredients and turning the crank. The teacher asked the children if they thought this was how ice cream they had gotten at the store was made, and she documented their responses. Here are some of the things that they said on this slide. The teacher observed from these responses that the children did not know how ice cream could be made in large quantities. She saw that they were unable to make connections between the ice cream that they were making at the school and the idea of an ice cream factory. She asked the children how they might find out how huge quantities of ice cream are made, and she wrote down what they said. Here are some of their answers. The teacher tried to follow up on the children's suggestions. They visited an ice cream and yogurt factory. They talked to other people and each other about ice cream. The body of information kept growing. Grandparents shared stories of eating ice cream all day when they got their tonsils out as children. The children wrote stories, drew pictures, collected recipes, took field trips, and took photographs to document all this learning. The class also had a make-your-own Sunday party. Families were invited. The children served the peach ice cream. The room was decorated with their charts, graphs, stories, and pictures. The party was a celebration of weeks of learning about something familiar to everyone. Meanwhile, the children were already talking about their next project of study, refrigeration. During the ice cream study, Emily's grandfather had told her about cutting ice from nearby New Hampshire lakes in the winter to store and use for ice boxes in the summer. Many of the children had never heard of pre-electricity refrigeration. They all swam in the lake where Emily's grandfather had cut ice in the old days. They were fascinated by this story and curious about how food was kept fresh before electricity. Their learning was spiraling in a new direction. This story is an example of what Dewey would call an educational experience. The teacher observed and asked questions to find out what the children already knew. She set up experiences for them to discover things that they didn't already know. She used her knowledge of developing a planned curriculum that was age appropriate, and she documented the children's learning to support her understanding of their thinking. The success of the project is measured by the fact that it led into the next area of study. The children were left curious, wanting more, and confident in their ability to dive in and satisfy their curiosity.